So, the moment is in front of us. The much awaited result of assistant professors against the advertisement number 29 2019 WBPSC has finally been published, which in one side brings happiness and hope for the laborious aspirants, and on the other side, which arises many questions among the aspirants related to the cutoff marks, the call for interview schedule, the ratio of being called for interview, etc. etc. Since the result is published, it has been already 24 hours or more has been passed, but the frequently asked questions or the fact among the students are increasing, and we can see that aspirants are posting their queries or their anxiety or their probability of getting called for interviews. So to remove all the confusions and anxieties that is arised from the results of the screening test of all subjects, I, Dr. Masoom Islam, a veteran, you can say, in the field of job sector, in the recruitment process conducted by WBPSC in academic sector job, both administrative and academic. Since 2015, I have been giving interviews, under the conduction of WBPSC. Of course, after qualifying all the, interviews or all the recruitments screening tests. So you can see my, my earlier interview schedules on the screen. And here, based on my experience that I gained so far from the interviews, from the journey, I would like to share my own experience about the PSC's, gestures or their movements regarding their recruitment policies. So, against this advertisement 29 2019, already 17 subject recruitment have been completed. The subjects under Gov Teachers Training College assistant professors, but the remaining 27 subjects was struck in the middle due to abrupt appearance of COVID-19 and its subsequent strict impositions and lockdown. So PSC has scheduled the screening test of all the subjects on 2019 6 March, but by the time the lockdown was imposed and it had to cancel or postpone the screening test, then again lockdown on the strict impositions of lockdown was relaxed to some extent. Again, PSC had published a merit list, a interview list, call for interview list of those candidates who have secured highest marks in MA degree, in their MA subjects, which break into uproar and anger and protest among the aspirants and the academicians, and the PSC again had to postpone the exam and dismiss the list, and finally it was held in 2022 in two phases, 8th May and 14th of May respectively, 30 of general awareness and 70 of the concerned subjects. But the abrupt publication of publication of results of the screening test after 1.5 years arises many questions to the aspirants. The candidates are in confusion. They are in dilemma, in hopelessly hopeful condition. Many of you have certainly put forward the question and searched for the answers of these questions, that what will be the next step of PSC, what will be the cutoff, and in what basis the cutoff will be made, when will be the call for interview will be published or scheduled. So to remove these anxieties and to give proper solutions to your queries, I think that I should make a video about this topic, so that my experience is shared and the anxieties and queries of all the aspirants are removed, or to some extent mitigated. So now the first question is, PSC has published almost all the results, all subject results, and irrespective of gender, irrespective of caste, category, and all that things. Now PSC will certainly publish the cutoff marks, because so many candidates, it is not possible to to find his or her name in the call for interview list. Certainly there will be some cutoff marks, some fixation in marks. If we take the previous conduction of exam of the same assistant professor subjects, PSC used to give direct schedule of interview after taking screening tests, and the interview schedule used to be the result. Those who find their name in the interview list were automatically deemed fit for interview or eligible for interview, assumed that they have or they had cleared the cutoff. You can find it. You can find it on the screen, which I used to give interview, and was called for interview without having any data of cutoff marks or like that. PSC used to give direct call for interview letters. and used to give the schedule in their website. And we, generally assumed that we certainly, cleared the cutoff. So this time the cutoff is not given, and PSC probably will give the cutoff within 2 weeks. I think there are almost 27 subjects, and 27 subjects results of a screen test have been published. The cutoff of the same will be published in the upcoming days. Which days? I don't know, or we don't know. Someday it will publish. But as PSC has published the result, the final, day is soon to become. Now the second question is, what will be the cutoff marks? In the earlier interviews, before COVID period, there were 50 or 55% marks out of 100 used to be the cutoff marks. But this time, considering the huge, examinees, the cutoff marks will be higher than the normal one. It will be probably it will be above 60. For reserve category, and 5% above, and 5 marks above, for the general categories. So 65 will be, I think, will be the general category cutoff, and reserve category cutoff will be, I think, 60. I may be wrong in my assumptions, but I assume it, in respect to my, in respect to my experience so far I have gained. Though PSC has given in their, in its advertisements that there will be 40% qualifying marks for general. Out of 100 general candidates will have to carry 40 marks, 38% for OBC category, 35% for SC, and 30% for ST. And there is a condition that, the differently able candidates will be 2% less than what is prescribed for particular category. 2% less. If general category differently able, then it will be 38%. If ST category differently able, then it will be 28% cutoff. In the previous interview schedules, PSC generally used to call 10 candidates or 8 candidates against each vacancy, against one vacancy. If there is 2 vacancies, then 18 or 20 candidates will be called upon for interview. It was the regulations of PSC's earlier advertisements. But this time, there is one thing that for the differently able candidates, it is given that the differently able candidates up to 5 times the vacancy in the respective category may be called to interview, irrespective of category. 5 times. That means 1:5. So, if differently able candidates are called 5 times higher of each vacancy, then we can assume that in general or in OBC or in reserved SC ST category vacancies will be also the same. So we can assume from this indication that 5 candidates will be called upon against each vacancy. So there will be probably there will be a chance to of the ratio of 1:5. God knows and PSC knows what will be the ratio. If 1:5 is the ratio, if 1:5 be the ratio, of the interview, then certainly the cutoff marks gonna be higher than the expected cutoff than you expected. So this is what we can say until and unless PSC is published the final interview schedule and the final cutoff marks. So I think parallelly the PSC will publish the interview schedule and the cutoff all together. Till then we have to wait, and those who have secured above 60% may remain hopeful. So this is what all about today's information about PSC's and PSC strategy, what I have earned in my long career after giving so many interviews in PSC office of assistant professors, lecturer in government polytechnic colleges, assistant master and mistress. So these all are assumptions, and with that assumptions we can be hopeful. Here I, Dr. Masum Islam, is signing off. Please subscribe in my channel for further information regarding job sector or regarding lectures in English literature. Thank you.